Evan Barker, coming to you live from Hook Outdoors here on Cave Run Lake. We're recording this at our retail location located here across the street from the Scotts Creek boat ramp. And we're going to give you a little fishing report today and see what else the conversation leads to. So right now, Cave Run sits at 730.5 feet of elevation, which is a half foot above the normal summer pool. We had an inflow of 1,283 CFS and an outflow of 1,039, which basically will hold the level pretty steady for the foreseeable future. Had a little bit of rain last night, so it's a good warm rain, so hopefully that'll get the fishing cranked up. We've run in water temps pretty much in the low to mid-low 60s. Clarity, Evan, what would you say the clarity is right now? Pretty decent?
It's really clear, yeah. It's cleared up a lot from the past, winter and all that stuff where it got so muddy. But,
yeah.
There's, on the main lake, it's getting to where it's, 3 or 4 foot of visibility. I mean, it's getting clear.
Yeah.
Backs of the creeks are a little bit more stained up, but it's still not muddy by no means. But, you still have about a foot or two of visibility in the back of the creeks.
Okay. Well, the crappie have, we'll start with those. Crappie have really been on the bike this week. I'm going to post some pictures some friends of mine sent me from earlier of some of their catches. They've been kind of all over the map with the depth. So early in the week, they caught them, in 4 to 6 foot of water. Then on like Tuesday, Wednesday, they were moved out to deeper water. And now they seem to have come back a little bit. I think part of that today is the rain we had here last night, running fresh water in the backs of the creeks. And, it's just maybe a little bit warmer, a little bit more fertile, got a little bit more oxygen in it. And another factor is the water temp itself and just the stability of the water where, they've been at this 730 and a half for, quite a few days now. So, the crappie are on the bite. They're doing everything from putting a jig about 2 foot underneath a bobber and popping it to using curly-tailed grubs, minnows. It's just pretty much been whatever your preference is. Catfish, been selling a lot of suckers, been selling a lot of goldfish. As the water warms up, those fish are biting now. There's starting to be a decent night bite on these cooler nights. The spillway where they've started decreasing the outflow, the fishing in the spillway is starting to pick up. You can still catch something on cut bait. That's always a good choice, the cut shad or that kind of thing. As it warms up, that you can use chicken livers, but that tends to be a warmer season bait, at least from what I sell here at the store anyway. But right now, if you have goldfish or shad or suckers, that's a pretty good deal. The spillway, up around Ramage Creek, Works Run, Clay Lick, those are all good areas right now as far as the catfish go. And as far as the crappie go, I know up behind the marina at Scotts Creek, up Beaver Creek has been really good, Leatherwood in particular, and up through there. And then the Poppin' Rock and Bangor area up the river and up North Fork have been really good on the crappie. The Musky Bite, it's been kind of slow, but it's come back this week some. They're pretty much out of their spawn cycle. From what I've talked to a few of the guides, like Greg Thomas with Battle of the Beast, and he's a co-owner of Musky Hunter magazine, and also I talked to one of the better local anglers, Bill Burns, and they both are kind of the opinion that the fish are still back in a more shallow type bays, like back behind Scotts Creek, for instance, or back in Works Run. And it's a slow moving bait, like a slow glide bait or a slow jerk bait, or even like a slow rolling a spinner bait as far as that goes. But natural colors seem to be doing better than anything. Your shad colors, your chrome and black, chrome and blue, that kind of thing. That seems to be the deal with that. The big bay there, where Ramage Creek is, for those of you that musky fish here much at all, then you kind of know where I'm talking about. Those areas like that seems to be some places where the fish are getting pretty active right now. From what I hear, the bass fishing is getting pretty active too, and Evan's going to lead us into that and see what and we'll just see what happens from there.
The only sound more enjoyable than the plop of your lure breaking on the surface of the water is the high-pitched squeal of your reel as you pull in your first bass of the day. To help ensure the first catch on your line is a fish, try the SB57 by Bill Lewis, the creators of Rattle Trap. The SB57 features a wide coffin-shaped bill that enables the bait to easily drive through brush, stumps, rocks, and more. Plus, its computer chip construction gives it that tight wiggle you and your next bass are looking for. The SB57 is Mark Daniels Jr.'s signature lure and is available at Hook Outdoors Tackle Shop, located on Cave Run Lake, or rattletrap.com.
Yeah, so the bass fishing, it's getting really, really good here at Cave Run. It's starting to be, consistently good with the water temperature increasing, getting, into the 60s consistently. That's the biggest thing, that the water's finally getting to where it'll consistently stay around that 60-degree mark, and sometimes even more. I was out, it's Friday now, this past Tuesday I was out, and I actually found 66-degree water in a pocket. And that's getting up there to where the fish should be in full swing spawn mode right now, which like I've said before, all the fish won't move up at once, but there's always going to be fish on the bed when that water's in the 60s. So bed fishing is going to be a really good pattern if you can find a few on a bed. The bed fish can be kind of tricky, but they're still catchable. But as far as that goes, you can still catch pre-spawners right now. I don't hardly think there will be many. There might be a few, but I don't think there will be many post-spawners. The water temperature really hasn't got to that point yet, or it hasn't been there that long enough to have a good group of post-spawners. But I'm thinking by next week, especially going into next week, we should have a good little population of post-spawners wanting to move back out. Move back out to the brush piles and shallow, or run, from the shallows back out to the brush piles and all that stuff. But right now, the fish are all going to be primarily extremely shallow. And, when I'm talking extremely shallow, I mean most of the time in less than 3 feet of water. So, still your best baits right now are going to be, like I've said about all spring, square bills, spinner baits, flipping like a craw or flipping a jig or something like that around bushes or lay down or something like that.
Right.
That's going to be your best option. And there's other options to catch fish. Like you can catch them now on like a fluke, or if you can find water above 60 degrees, which should be about the entire lake by now. Especially after all this warm rain we had, the lake should be primarily over into the mid 60s just about. So. It's time to throw a topwater. A spook, a buzz bait, popper, all that stuff.
Right.
Topwater's a pattern that a lot of people don't really think about until it gets in into the dog days, the heat of summer. But a buzz bait, I caught one on a topwater last Tuesday, or this past Tuesday, a couple days ago. So the bite's there. They're all going to be shallow, so you just got to get out there and find them. What I'm finding right now is that the fish are grouped up really heavily. You can go, an hour or two without, taking a bite, but you can go into the back of one certain pocket and catch, 10 or 15. So it's just kind of, once you find a few fish, really, really slow down and pick apart all the cover, or pick apart, maybe figure out if the fish are migrating to the center of the creek, or if they're up on the bank or something like that.
Right.
Or figure out if they're on stumps or any kind of cover. But once you find one or two, there's going to be a bunch more there, because I think they're grouped up really good this time of year.
I think the fish is getting ready to really cut loose here. I think as long as we don't have a big washout rain Monday and Tuesday and jack with the lake level, but if it's just a decent amount of rain that doesn't mess the level up too much, I just really think we're getting to a point now where the water temps and even the night temps are getting warmer. I just think the fishing's just really going to get really good here over the course of the next 2 or 3 weeks, I hope, anyway.
Right, yeah. When you have nighttime temperatures consistently staying in the the 50s and sometimes even 60s, and you have daytime temperatures of above 70 and sometimes even hitting 80, 82,
right?
That's going to help the water temperature a lot, and it's just going to that's the main thing is the nighttime temperature though. The water temperature doesn't drop off any at night. Yeah. It can only gain during the day.
Yeah.
So that just creates for a really good bite. I know of 2 tournaments going out tomorrow. They're together, but they're going out of the same ramp. It's the Skeeter division. They're going out of Stony Cove, as well as a state trooper, the Trooper Island tournament, the fundraiser tournament for the boys camp down there at Del Hollow Lake.
Right.
They have a fundraiser tournament here every year, so they're having it tomorrow as well, and they're running it with the Skeeter. I think they kind of talked to the directors there with the Skeeter just to have a good number of boats there and
So
raise more money for the fundraiser guys.
Oh, see, that's not.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a really good deal.
That's a really good. That's a good thing. I didn't know that's how they were doing it. I'd heard that they were going to have the same ramp there, and I was like, well, how's that going to work? So, but basically, it's two tournaments.
Yeah.
But it's the same tournament.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. Tomorrow it should be really good. There's a little bit of a cold front tomorrow morning. It's going to drop down in the 30s tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But those fish, what I've kind of seen, once they move up and they start spawning and they get in that mode, they're there to stay.
Yeah.
So you might just have to change up a little bit, maybe fish a little bit more finessey or something like that. And just to get more bites, but those fish are still going to be there because they're not going to get up there and they're not going to get started on their whole spawn. That whole process they go through, and one cold night's not going to make a whole bunch of fish just move straight back out and start over.
Right.
So they're still going to be there. You just have to change up a little bit and kind of just let the fish talk to you and see if they're not eating, a moving bait or a spinner bait or something like that.
Right.
Switch over and maybe start throwing something slow like a jig or something like
Yeah.
that. But it should be a really good tournament tomorrow. I'm thinking it'll take a big bag to win.
Yeah.
And by big bag on Cave Run, I'm saying probably 11 or 12 probably in that ballpark will win tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'm sure they'll pay in both tournaments. They'll pay down 3 places, and it'll probably take about I'd say it'd be a good guess to say it would take 8 or 9 probably to cut a check tomorrow.
Well, you reckon they'll have 50, 60 boats?
It'll be a good little. I really think it'll be a good little turnout. And if they have 50 or 60 boats,
because there'll be some guys that'll probably show up to fish that charity tournament that may not necessarily be skeeter fishermen.
Right.
And you have all your skeeter guys there, so that might be a nice little derb tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, they've done a good job of advertising it though. They've always done a good job with the Trooper Island tournament advertising it.
Yeah.
And it gets around to a lot of people. Me and Dad were fortunate enough year before last, the first time they had this tournament here, we were fortunate enough to win it. And they had 30. I think there was 35 boats in at that time.
Awesome.
And they didn't have that other tournament going on with it, so that was just guys only fishing the charity tournament. But if you can get a good group of guys fishing the Skeeter as well as a group of guys that come just to fish the charity tournament, that it should make for a pretty good turnout. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I hope they have a big crowd, and it's supposed to be good weather tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
You hear the term this time of year, and we may be a little bit late to the party on it, but these fish are basically in the post-spawn or pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn mode right now. Some of them are anyway. But, if you stumble across some bedding fish tomorrow here at Cave Run, what's the best way to catch those here? Is that pretty universal, or are they kind of unique here to fish bedding fish here?
Bedfish, bedfish are really tough to catch because they're so finicky. You can pull up to a bed, and where I've got talons on the back of my boat, so I pull up to the bed, I talon down, that way my boat doesn't move. And most of the time I pull up my trolling motor too, because I'm not using my graphs, or I'm not using my trolling motor where I got the talons down in the back. So I'll just pull up my trolling motor. That way it's just me sitting there in the water, just me and the bedfish right there. And the biggest thing when bed fishing is you fish just a Texas rig, just a soft plastic. But the biggest thing is having it in a color that you can see. So you throw, whether that be a bright white, white bait's mainly what people use when they're bed fishing, and that's like a white creature bait, or maybe like a white craw or something like that.
Okay.
Or a lot of people use lizards, just anything white, because you got to think when you're looking into the water, everything down there, the bottom, the mud, and all that stuff, it's dark. It's a brown or black or whatever. It's dark. So you've got that white silhouette of your bait down there, and you can see it, and you can always see, well, I'm to the right of the bed, or I'm to the left of the bed, or
Right.
I'm in the bed. Just one of the things like that. But bedfish are really finicky. It can take, if it's a really good fish, like tomorrow, if I see a 4 or 5 pounder on a bed, I might lock the talons down and fish it for 30 or 40 minutes. Like honestly,
man,
it's
and
stressful.
you see like those Elite Series anglers and the MLF guys. I mean, that's what they do. Of course, I mean, they're fishing maybe for an 8 pounder, but still, they'll just pitch and pitch and pitch and pitch, or just will leave a bait just sitting there like right by this fish's head. Maybe just twitch it just a little bit and all that kind of, and they'll do that for like 30 minutes or maybe longer.
Yeah,
and I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'd hate to leave a big fish like that, but on the other hand, just having the patience and the willpower to do that. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It's. I'm definitely gonna have a bed fishing set up on the front deck tomorrow, just in case I do see a good one on a bed. I probably won't mess around too much if I see a bunch of 12 inchers on bed or anything like that, and unless I find that they're really easy to catch. Sometimes you can tell. A lot of times you can tell as soon as you pull up to a bed if that fish is catchable. It's weird though if the fish is really locked in there, just locked down. Sometimes it's really hard to catch, but if that fish is kind of moving around the bed a lot and all that stuff and everything, and you pull up to the bed and you see it for a second, then it moves off and it moves back on. A lot of times you can catch that fish. For some reason, it's weird like that. But bed fishing, if I see a good one tomorrow, I'll probably fish it a little bit. But it would have to be a pretty good one for me to lock down, especially fish it for more than 15-20 minutes.
Now you said we talked a little bit about before. You're going to Kentucky Lake here this week too, aren't you?
Yep. I'm leaving for Kentucky Lake either Monday evening or really early Tuesday morning. I'm not sure.
I know this
yet.
weather can change things that much, but I mean, just as of right now, what are you kind of expecting when you get there?
I've been doing a lot of homework for this event. I've been looking at Google Earth and my Navionics maps and all that stuff, and I've been looking at the TVA maps and all that stuff, or the TVA, the water level data, and it's really setting up to be an extremely good tournament. Kentucky Lake, it's famous for the spring bush flipping bite. Everybody who is familiar with Kentucky Lake knows that it's an extremely good lake for flipping bushes in the spring.
They've been having some good weigh-ins, haven't they?
They've been having some really good tournaments. I know, like in BFLs and things like that down there that I've been looking at, if you don't have 14, 15, sometimes even 16 pounds, you're right on that cut line for a check. So I mean, it's taken 20, 21 pounds to win them.
Okay.
So which it's Kentucky Lake's on the turnaround. It's one of the Elite Series guys, Mark Menendez. He's been saying that it's Kentucky Lake ain't dead. It's still there. Them fish are still there.
I think Mother Nature just has a way of working it out.
It must do it. Because Kentucky Lake it's been on the down. It's been on
it's been horrible from what people
downward
say.
spiral for the past 5-6 years, and it's mainly because of the Asian carp problem and all that stuff they have down there. But just to see it on the incline this year, and seeing 20 and 22 pound tournament winning bags, that's just good to see. Because Kentucky Lake was at one time it was the best fishery in the world. Everybody dreamed of going to Kentucky Lake and going ledge fishing. While this time around I won't be ledge fishing down there. At least I don't think I will. You never know, I really don't think I will. But I just looked here before we started the show at the TVA app, and the water level down there is a foot high.
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked about it on here before. I think we've talked about it on here before. Is the way Kentucky Lake works? It's different from a highland reservoir like Cave Run or Cumberland or something like that, where on Cave Run, if that water level rises a foot, it's really not that big of an increase. You don't have that much more cover in the water. But in western Kentucky, where Kentucky Lake and Barkley is, everything is so flat down there. It is
Oh, yeah.
flat ground everywhere, and when you get a foot of water rising down there,
That may stretch for a mile.
that's a lot of water that it opens up. So I'm excited to see. Normal summer pool down there is 358, and I just checked a minute ago, and it's at, or actually let me. I
Isn't
can't
that-
remember if it was 3.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
at
we're
358.
our summer pool is 730, and they're less than half of that.
Yeah, it's
as far.
wild.
Of course, I know that's elevation above sea level.
Yeah.
But still, that fascinates me.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. Kentucky Lake, it's normal. Summer pool is at 358, and right now, as of today, it's at 358.93.
Now you guys are limited where you can fish at, though. I mean, you guys basically can cover about 40 miles.
Just looking at it on maps and things like that, and kind of looking at everything, we've got about 40 miles or 45 miles of the lake open to us.
You can't even go to Barkley. You can go to the bridge.
Yeah, I
there.
can go to the bridge and the canal that connects Barkley and Kentucky,
Yeah.
but I can't go over past that bridge to the Barkley side. But basically, what I've got to work with there, which it's still a ridiculous amount of water.
Yeah,
It's a massive lake. Even when they cut it in basically a third, like they did, it's still massive.
Yeah.
So we're taking the tournament's going out of Gilbertsville, right there at Kentucky Dam Village, right there at the at the dam, and which is at the very tip top of the lake, and we've got open water all the way down to the Paris Bridge, which is down in Tennessee, and that's about 43 miles straight down. So we've still got a lot of water. A lot of the major creeks are still open.
Well, you fish those tournaments on Dale. You've got a Tennessee license, don't you?
Yeah.
You think you'll make that run, at least practice anyway?
Oh yeah. I'll be. Which the thing is, the thing about that tournament there, it's not going to have that much pressure just from that tournament. Which I'm not a local down there, so I don't know how many tournaments are going out of it that same day. There could be 10 different tournaments going out, but just in our tournament, I think we have right at 100 boats. I think so. It'd be a little different if I was
And
fishing
it's a high school state.
it's the
state
high school,
championship.
Yeah, high school state championship.
Okay.
It'd be different if I was fishing like a 300 boat tournament down there. I would 100% make the run way down, as almost probably as far as I could down. But where it's only about a 100 boat tournament, I'm sure we've got 3 days of practice, so I'm still gonna, the way I practice, I'll probably cover every bit of it from Dam to Paris Bridge. So,
Well, be sure you fish the Blood River for me.
oh yeah,
Because there's an old pond dam not too far from the mouth of it. That's oh Lord, 20 years ago I used to catch fish off of. But it's a pretty good.
Fish
I always
will
like
do the
going
same
there.
thing over and over and over. Yeah, if it's a little transition area for them to pull off on. The thing about it down there, those fish have been spawning down there for about 2 weeks. I think.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
So then a lot of fish could be in a little post spawn mood. So we might be able to fish a little bit of. There might be a little bit offshore going on
Right.
with maybe not main river ledges by no means. It'll be one in less than 6-7 feet of water.
Yeah,
without a doubt in my mind, that's where it'll be one.
Right.
But a lot of those fish are probably going to be in a little bit of post spawn mood, meaning we could catch fry garden males and all that stuff up in the bushes and things like that. But
Right.
with the lake being about a foot high when we get there, it should be just a prime time bush flipping bite.
Good deal.
As long as the TVA doesn't start, dropping the water pretty consistently on top of their heads, it should stay there for the time that we're there. Because I think we're getting a pretty good little bit of rain while we're down there in practice. I know that for sure.
You're gonna have it Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, we're gonna have some rain in practice. So,
Yeah.
but the tournament's all the way next Friday and Saturday, so a lot's gonna change by then. They're still giving warm temperatures, 50s and 60s at night, and 70s and 80s during the day. So it's setting up to be a really good tournament.
Awesome. Well, folks, that's kind of going to wrap it up today. Just short and sweet. Evan's got a couple of tournaments he's got to get ready for and everything. And he's getting ready to wrap his high school education career up here. So we wish him the best of luck with all that. So just be sure you stay tuned. This next week, I'll be interviewing the winners of this year's PMT season opener here on Cave Run Lake, and find out what they did and their tips and tricks, and they'll be they're trail fishermen, so they'll be fishing the rest of them and kind of get their thoughts on at least maybe how the next PMT tournament or two shape up, and just give a listen here when you can, and as always, just get outdoors with.